Thank you for joining Auto Network Reports. I'm your host, Roosevelt, and today we will take you to the West Coast and we'll have a conversation with our special guest, Mr. John Faulkner. And as always, we have our true and loyal panelist, Mr. Dave Folk, TexGarage.com, even though he's not in Texas. he has that handle and has had it for years.
Roosevelt, you make me sound like a pet.
You are. You're always chomping at my ankles.
Yeah, exactly.
As always, you can find us on Black Press USA, and I guess in this day and age, talking about African Americans is something that we should do more on the show. But I promise Dave, we're not political, and we're not going to be political, because once I open that door for him, we can't close it again. If you know an African American that's 30 years or older, please make sure he visits his urologist. Get that PSA exam. I always say it's that little prick that could possibly save his life. Before we bring John on, we have an announcement. You've probably seen it somewhere. Chris Reynolds, who used to be with who did he used to be? He was with Honda for a while, executive. Now he's on the board of directors for Toyota, African American. Want to wish Chris well. So we'll see how Toyota handles that little new direction. Even though Toyota has really been popular among the African American community in terms of their products. And you probably heard that Nissan and Honda, they were trying to shake hands and hug and be nice. And they decided, well, that's not going to happen. Nissan decided they didn't want to be second fiddle to Honda. So that has dropped off the map, at least for the time being. We don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. You never do until an announcement is being made. One other thing, there's some confusion in the marketplace. And I say the marketplace, I mean the automotive space. All of us here on the panel get invited to new car press launches on a regular basis. And we have an opportunity to talk to executives. And they give us a message. They give us a nice presentation. And then sometimes I will go out and talk to some dealers or read about what the dealers actually think. And a lot of times it's not what the manufacturers have been telling us. So there seems to be a disconnect. And a prime example is the last event that I went on, which was Mitsubishi Outlander. Talked to one of the executives there. They gave us a nice presentation, how well Mitsubishi is doing. And then lo and behold, I run across an article in Automotive News. Mitsubishi dealers are all up in arms. They want new product. What they have out there now, they can, have a hard time selling one car. I think their sales are down to, they have a little over 300 Mitsubishi dealers. And the average sale is somewhere around 17 vehicles per dealership per month. And the dealers are saying we can't survive on that. They're stressing more selling used cars. And the dealers say we need at least 30 cars a month, in sales to make this happen for us. I mean, when I sold cars, and I know when Dave sold cars, we had salespeople, one salesperson selling 30 cars a month.
Right.
I mean, so you're talking about a whole dealership floor, and they can't get 30 cars. That's trouble.
An Alpha dealer should be selling 17 cars a month.
Thank you.
And that's not a volume franchise.
Yeah. Fiat.
Well, Fiat hopefully would sell 17 a year.
Yeah, right. But anyway, I know John has some time constraints being out on the West Coast, but I'm always in contact with John either through text messages or emails or see him on events. And I said, well, why don't we just have him on the show to talk about what he does? And he's with Clean Fleet Report, And if we have time, he's going to talk a little bit about the Rivian R1T tri-motor that he may still be in it, or he may have had to return it. But John, thanks for taking the time, man, and good to see you.
Yep.
In the digital space.
Yep. Good to see
So
you too.
why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and what exactly is Clean Fleet Report?
Clean Fleet Report covers efficient vehicles and clean burning vehicles. So we will review gasoline powered vehicles and diesel vehicles get 30 plus miles per gallon. And then we will review anything that's electrified. So that's hybrid, plug-in hybrid, battery hybrid, and hydrogen electric. And when I started riding full time 13 years ago, there was one EV, the Leaf. Now I will write 50 to 60 reviews a year, and all of them could be electrified in some case. So in a short amount of time, that has really taken hold. Now, they're not all battery electric. However, I'm sure there might be 50 battery electrics out there I guess I could review, but I do a lot of plug-in hybrids and hybrids, and it's there's really no lack of anything to review anymore, which is nice. And I do make sure though that I drive every manual shift vehicle that's still being sold every year, because I don't want my left leg to forget what it's supposed to be doing. So, so that's just a little personal thing for me. So,
right.
So I've been doing this for 13 years and posted 1,100 stories in that time. And so, as we said, right now I'm in the 2025 Rivian R1T tri-motor, and that comes in a dual motor, a tri-motor, and a quad motor. So I'm in the tri right now.
Tell me a little bit about, I'm curious, we saw each other, what, maybe a week ago, a couple of weeks ago, and we had breakfast and dinner. And you are an original Californian.
Yep.
And I've always wanted to know, at least from somebody who was born there and raised there and still there, what is it about California and new cars that you just don't see anywhere else in the country? You know, Detroit is where all the ideas and the engineering comes from and the manufacturing. But California is where people look to as to what consumers are actually doing and what they're driving. Why do you think that is?
It goes deeper than the auto industry. It is that Californians don't tell us we can't do something. We're already on the far end of the continent. So the ocean's the next thing out there, and we're ready to do anything. And it's a really a can-do place, and there's people are on the move. No, the immigration to this state has been from all over the country and the world. And as far as automobiles go, in the 80s, when the first gasoline crisis hit, and we had gas rationing and all that, that was right about the time when the Japanese were starting to get their foothold in the state. And I remember the first time that I went to Detroit was in 1982. I was there on business, not this business I'm in, but a previous life. And not only did I not see any Japanese cars, I saw signs on buildings and on freeway overpasses using flat out profane derogatory statements about Japanese cars. And I was shocked, because being born and raised in California, I was our family had Volkswagens. My dad had a Porsche at one time. All my friends had every car made any place in the United States also, but of course Europe and Asia, and I never thought anything of it. till I got there and I realized that Detroit is a very small, closed community, and as opposed to innovating, they wanted to fight. They wanted to curl into a ball, and they didn't want to be on the cutting edge of technology. And it's we know now we're in a world economy right now, and that's why this whole thing with tariffs and everything has got the auto industry just completely. They have no idea what's going on. So why do Californians like new things? We're California. Trends start here. And then they eventually get across the country. And as far as electric vehicles go, our state has been primarily dominated by the Democrats for quite a while. And if you two had ever been to Southern California in the 70s and the 80s, in the summertime, the air was unbreathable. And now you go to Los Angeles and it's remarkable what it is now. And that's all because of the AQMD, the Air Quality Management District. Then they formed CARB, and CARB is the one that's got Washington trying to fight it, because CARB is the one who came up with the 2035 no more gasoline powered vehicles being sold in the state of California. And I think there's 9 other states that have also bought onto that. So all of that, whatever restrictions, and our gas is the highest price in the country, and it's a welcome for me penalty that I pay to live in this state. And I just, so as far as EVs go, we made Tesla in California. California Democrats made Tesla, and now you've been following the news. You see that they are no longer buying Teslas, and there's more competition. 5-10 years ago, he was it. That was the only car. Now, again, Californians are willing to try things. So it's and it's interesting when I speak with people that come from the Detroit area and they come out here, they can't believe how many electric cars they see. Well, I live in a cul-de-sac with 3 cul-de-sacs in my neighborhood, 60 houses, and we have probably got 20 EVs. Then on top of that, hybrids and PHEVs. So it's this state is all over it. And the money that we put into public infrastructure for charging is the reason why you can go any place in this state with an electric vehicle. And not saying it's as convenient as pulling into a gas station, but you're going to find a charger someplace. And that's because this state, this legislature believes in cleaning the air through stopping tailpipe emissions.
One other quick question, and I'll let Dave jump in because I know he's just chomping at the bit there. You mentioned charging, and the previous administration had passed a law where allocated X amount of dollars to build so many charging stations, and now that has been put on hold or actually killed. How is that going to affect charging and EVs in California?
I don't think particularly a huge amount, because the state is going to continue investing in it. Maybe it'll slow it down. Maybe some projects will be slowed down. I know that one of the projects, some of that money from the IRA was to go into electric buses for all the school districts to be done with diesel by a certain date. And I know now that funding is gone. And so it's going to affect it, but I don't see the auto manufacturers backing off the fact that California is the EV capital of the country. I don't see. I think they're going to keep promoting it hard here, and we're the other thing that California has going for it is there's so many single family dwellings, houses, and because of that, people are putting in level 2 chargers, and the houses are relatively new enough. A lot of the houses in California are built after the 1970s, so they're able to handle putting in a level 2 without having to put in a whole new panel and everything. Older houses, no, can't do it. It's going to cost you a lot of money to do it. But
Right.
we've seen the auto manufacturers now are giving chargers for free when you buy a new car. You got to pay for the installation, but they're giving you the charger. So they're understanding that if electric vehicles are going to make it, people have to know they have to charge at home. And that's what Californians do.
Right. Dave.
Well, I'm curious with respect to EVs, John, and the fact that you've been doing this as long as you've been doing it. Do you own an EV yourself?
I do not.
And I'm not implying that you should or you need to. You get them every week. But I was curious if you were to pull that financial trigger. Roosevelt and I have an ongoing discussion, a polite discussion, with regard to the benefits of hybrids vis-a-vis plug-in hybrids vis-a-vis battery EVs. If you were to pull the trigger on one of the above, what would it be?
If we had one car in our household, I would definitely get a plug-in hybrid.
Uh-huh.
Definitely. There's no reason why I would not do that. And they are so massively efficient. And people saying that, oh, PHEVs, there's people don't plug them in, so they're still polluting just like a regular gasoline engine. Well, that's up to the owner. That has nothing to do with the technology. And so, no, I would go PHEV. The minimum, you would go hybrid. But as far as the EV goes, I would be tending towards something that gets in the 230 to 250, 60 mile range, because that vehicle would not be our sole vehicle, and it would not be one that we would anticipate needing to take any further. Because, as we all know, there's a direct correlation between how far an electric vehicle will go and how much money that you have to spend to go that long distance.
Right.
So if you want to buy a Lucid Air that goes 540 miles, well, that's an investment. So there's, but you can get really good battery electric vehicles right in the low 30s that are getting, over 200 miles. So there's the batteries are getting better. And so to answer your question, right now, if I was in the market, I would buy a plug-in hybrid.
We bought a plug-in hybrid, and you'll forgive me, Roosevelt, if I get a little personal here.
Go ahead.
And I promise to be brief. But we bought a plug-in hybrid Grand Cherokee in November of 23, a remaining 23 model. And my wife was intrigued by the no emissions for the first 26 miles and the efficiency that the Grand Cherokee would get with the hybrid power after your battery runs out. We're in the second week of Detroit's A-Team trying to diagnose its drivability problems with our dealer here in Northern Virginia. We went 3 months with no ability to charge it per Jeep and its suggestions, given the fact that there were some recharging issues with the batteries and the software that controls them. So for 3 months, we didn't charge it. We weren't supposed to garage it. They supposedly did the fix in mid-January, and that fix came with a couple of other related drivability problems, or we assume they're related. What I'm curious about is there too much going on with a plug-in hybrid and its drivability. In the 15, 16 months we've owned this, every service visit has been in conjunction with some sort of software reboot or fix. And we're now on the second week. Very delighted with the vehicle. It's our third Grand Cherokee since '98, but very apprehensive with regard to the long-term ownership, given its complexity and given the fact that we are essentially serving as product engineers for a vehicle that we bought retail.
Yeah. Without trying to be too cute, if you didn't have a Jeep, you probably wouldn't be having these problems. And I reckon when people ask me what EV would I buy, I tell them which ones I would like to buy, but that's a financial question. When I look at the ones I'd like to buy, it's pretty much anything that the Hyundai Group makes.
Uh-huh.
Hyundai, Kia, Genesis, and then I like the Mach-E. I've been in the Mach-E. I've reviewed it 4 or 5 times, and I really like that vehicle. It's a nice vehicle.
I like the footprint of it a lot.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then the Ultium vehicles. I have driven every Ultium. I'll be going up to the Bay Area in a couple of weeks to be able to drive the Mystique and the Escalade IQ, and I've had, I mean, the Equinox, the Blazer, they're all perfectly good vehicles. But what Honda did with the Prelude, which is built on that platform, their engineers did something to the tuning or to the suspension or to something. It's the best of the Ultium based platform vehicles that I have driven.
Are you speaking the Prologue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. I'm sorry, the Prologue. Sorry. Yeah.
Right. Prelude is yet to come.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
The Prologue is for Prelude.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Sure.
And they sell a lot of those in California. Boy, you see a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, one of the reasons Dave and I go round and round about this is for the problem that he's currently having. There's just too many systems trying to talk to one another that shouldn't even be having that conversation. They should have been eliminated. If you'd had a pure just a regular hybrid, you don't hear about those types of problems. Or a pure EV, you don't hear about those types of problems. But when you try and interconnect the gasoline and the electric, you hear about those types of problems. And that's why Dave and I they were saying we have this conversation all the time. Go ahead.
Well,
John.
again, I got to tell you, I know a number of people with plug-in hybrids that are not brand new hybrids. They've had them in their garage for quite a while. None of the people I know are driving a Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
So when I speak to them about their vehicle, they don't have any trouble at all with it.
But are they driving a vehicle that would be comparable in what a Jeep would do? To be fair,
I don't think. Well, are there any plug-in hybrid midsize SUVs out there, all-wheel drive? I'm trying to think what else.
I don't know.
I'm sure. I think Kia and Hyundai recently have added those.
The RAV4 Prime is essentially a midsize crossover with ostensibly some all-wheel drive capability. My wife drives a Grand Cherokee in large part because she simply likes driving Grand Cherokees.
Okay.
Gravel would be a pause before driving over it.
Right.
So she certainly isn't going to boulder hop in Moab, but she likes what they project and she likes the comfort level. And while I can't afford a plug-in Grand Cherokee, she can, and so that's what we chose. Right. But yeah, if we were to pull the trigger today, I suspect it would be a hybrid. We drove a Venza for a couple of years on a part-time basis, and were amazed by its efficiency and satisfied with the package. So I'd probably do what Roosevelt suggests. One, he owns the show, but I do what Roosevelt suggests and either veer toward a conventional hybrid, or if we had the capacity in the garage, have a pure EV, and the Mach-E would be on my short list.
Yeah. So one of my neighbors has the last generation Prius Prime, and of course now they call it Prius plug-in for the new generation, and he's got 215,000 miles on his, averaging 69 miles per gallon or something, and nothing wrong ever.
Yeah.
Now, is he lucky? Is he atypical? Are you unlucky, and are you atypical for what the Cherokee and what Stellantis can do? Like I
Mhm.
said, I don't follow that. All I know is that um, um, I have never heard of a hybrid system failing.
Mhm.
You hear of gasoline engines failing or a fan belt blowing or something like that, but I've never heard of a hybrid engine or the hybrid side of that technology being the reason why there's an issue.
Right. Right.
Well,
Okay.
before we run out of time here, and we could talk about this for two more shows,
Yes.
I want to hear about somebody that's driven the Rivian because I haven't had a conversation with somebody who has actually driven the Rivian. I've only seen them on the highway, haven't had the opportunity to get behind the wheel. So
Right.
quickly, John, talk about your experience with the Rivian.
I knew nothing about it when it showed up. Yeah, that's it. Parked in my driveway. So the real nice woman from page one said, "Do you want to walk around?" And normally I say no, because I know a car's a car, but I said yeah. So she walked me around it. I'm really glad she did. There's no buttons, switches, knobs, wheels, anything on the dash of this vehicle. And so it's good she showed me how to go down to the screen and to go through the pages and to find how to do stuff. And then there is not a key. What you get is a card that's sized like a credit card. And then that's what starts the vehicle. That's what locks the vehicle from the driver's side only. You can't lock the car without that. So what they want you to do is to download the app. So now your mobile phone becomes your key. So from once you have that downloaded, you can start it remotely. You can do all the open the doors remotely and all that. So everything that a normal key fob would do. And then as far as the vehicle goes, the there are certain systems in EVs that I like. I like having the regen pedals on the steering wheel. This is like the Ultium vehicles where you go into the head unit, the screen, and you set it for either off, low, medium, or high. And so that and there's no way when you're driving to actually affect the regen, because I like driving with just my fingers as opposed to having to ever hit the brake. And that's a that and I've been in I've been in a lot of EVs just this year alone, and so this one it would keep me from owning this vehicle, other than the fact that it's just it's a design that they think that if you were to speak to them, they would say the people that are going to buy this vehicle don't want to drive it the way you're driving it. And so that's that. As far as the fit and finish goes, man, it's solid, and it's all fast as you can imagine. I mean, it's 2.8 seconds 0 to 60 with the tri-motor, which I've not done yet, but it's a get up and go, which now begs the question: are truck buyers going to be buying this, or are people that just want an electric pickup truck, but they're really not vocational? They're not carpenters or anything like that. They're not gardeners. And that, of course, was the question with the Cybertruck, that people said, "Oh, yeah, it's a pickup truck, pickup truck." Well, no, I've never seen one used for anything other than just driving down the road. So the question is the Rivian R1T, which is the pickup version, and of course the SUV also, is it going to is it going to be used for anything other than just driving around? And I obviously I don't know. I think the towing capacity is over 10,000 pounds, which is real nice. But we know the challenges with towing with an electric vehicle. That's the same with with an internal combustion engine. You use up that fuel when you're towing, but for the most part, towing with electric is not something that people recommend doing. The vehicle is very comfortable. It has a couple really quirky little fun things. It has that storage pass-through unit, that opening. There's two doors on either side behind the rear doors. by the bed, and you open them up and you can store stuff in there. That's really neat. The tonneau cover is a power rolling thing. It rolls up, so it's not like a tonneau cover on a regular pickup where you unclip it and then have to go put it someplace. This one rolls up like a blind and then unrolls again. So that's kind of neat. And as far as the systems go, there's no Android Auto or Apple CarPlay on this vehicle either. And of course, that's what's causing GM a lot of anguish right now, is that they say that they're dropping Apple CarPlay. And with that being the predominant mobile phone brand in the United States, I don't understand the thinking, but there must be some reason why. But you know, my iPhone paired easily, and I was able to stream Spotify and all that. So it works. It just isn't Apple CarPlay. That's all.
One quick question.
Yeah.
What was the MSRP of the one that you have?
Right now it's 109, 150.
If you had not been given the initial walk around, what would have been the learning curve for you to even start that vehicle?
Okay, let me tell you my story about when I got in the Mercedes-Benz EQS with the giant screen that goes from A pillar to A pillar. And normally I can get in any car I get in, pair my phone, turn on the radio, set my Sirius XM channels, reset the trip meter, and I'm gone. On the EQS, I got in this thing and it took me an hour to figure it out, as well as going on YouTube and typing in 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQS, how do you do this? It was, I mean, I certainly hope that Mercedes-Benz at their dealerships has people that are trained in this, and they're taking people aside and saying, you know, you got yourself a vehicle that you're going to use 1% of its capability.
And what was the price of that one?
Oh, I think so. I did the EQS and the EQE. I think that they both topped out right around 115, 118, something like that. And the screen is beautiful. Oh, it's absolutely, it's this 3D AR screen. I mean, it's incredible. It's so beautiful.
Now back to the Rivian.
Yeah, sorry.
Talk about the learning curve of the Rivian.
Well, once that the woman walked me through it.
If she had not walked you through it, what would have happened?
It would have been an hour sitting in the driveway, going on YouTube and you know, asking, how do you do this? How do you do that? As a matter of fact, there's still a couple things I haven't figured out yet. But I plan on doing that this afternoon. And then tomorrow I'm going to take, my wife and I were going to take our road trip, and I'm going to try to see how far I can go with it. What's nice is that they give you the adapter for the Tesla chargers, which is really nice. But then when you go on the head unit and you go under charging, it tells you which stations will allow you to use your Rivian with the adapter. So not all superchargers will allow it, and I don't understand that. I need to drill down on that, but I'm gonna. Yeah.
Quick questions, Dave.
Well, I'm curious, and without getting political, Roosevelt, because we don't do that.
Go ahead.
Obviously, in the last few weeks with his Doge endeavors, there's been a lot of pushback on Elon Musk, both professionally and personally. And I understand that's even extended to Tesla owners or those in consideration of an EV who suggest the hell will freeze over before they buy a Tesla. And I'm kind of curious, seeing you and your perspective of the industry, with all the confusion that's going on with EV mandates, all electric mandates, yada, 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 yada. Do you see Elon Musk's personal reputation helping manufacturers like Rivian, where you've got people that want to buy an EV, but at this point don't want to buy a Tesla?
I do. And all the stories that we've been reading in the last several days regarding their European sales are down 60%. And they did a survey in Germany, and 83% of the people surveyed said they have a negative opinion of Elon, and that's because he's been siding with the far right political party in that country. So yes, absolutely. Actions have consequences, and his actions, from a business person, as far as Tesla goes, nothing's really changed with the design for a decade. He's allowed all the other car companies to come in and catch him. Now, if people are dissatisfied with him personally, then they are going to say, well, I want an EV. Let me take a look what else is out there. And to answer your question, this is definitely going to help the competitors. And personally, in fact, I just had a woman yesterday ask me, she has a 2018 Model S and she wants to replace it. She wants to get another Tesla. And I said, why would you want a Tesla? Well, because I really like the car. Why do you want to get a new one? Well, just, I usually get a new car every now and then. I said, great. When you bought your car, it was the only game in town. Now it's not. And I encourage you to go out and do some research, drive some other EVs, and get a feel for what is out there, and see if you like it better. I didn't talk politics with her. I just talked about vehicles. And so that's I mean, there's every single day there's another story that's popping up talking about how sales are down and interest is down. And of course they thought that the drop that they saw in December for Tesla in Europe was because people were waiting for the Model Y to be delivered and all that kind of stuff. Well, now 2 months in a row, and it really dropped. The sales tanked, and and the stock price is down and all that. So and this is, again, not getting personal or political, but Elon is not the kind of person who likes to be told no. He's got the money, and you don't want to do what I want to do. Well, like he's doing with firing people. Well, you don't have to work here. Goodbye. Doesn't matter how good you are. You're gone. So he doesn't like being told no. And right now he's being told no by people all over the world. And I can't believe that he is very happy with this. He's got to be wondering, what are we doing? All the big hype on the Cybertruck. And I went to the first sheet pull that was in Hawthorne at the SpaceX Center a couple of years ago, like a week before the auto show. And I went to it, and that was the one where he had the guy, throw the ball at the window because the window was unbreakable and it broke. So, that kind of stuff. Well, of course, that vehicle came out, and the first people to get them, people were looking at them going, wow, look at that thing. Now people look at him going, what an idiot. So the deal is that it's not doing what he wanted it to do. He thought it was going to be this thing that everyone was just going to go nuts over, and they're not. They're not. Yeah.
All right, back to the Rivian.
Sorry.
Back to the Rivian. I'm curious to know, John, if it took you an hour to figure this thing out, did you go back to the representative and have any conversation about the complexity and how that will affect the consumer that's looking to purchase this thing?
Yeah, I haven't had that follow up yet, because I've only been in it for 3 days and I haven't done my long range drive on it yet.
But I'm talking about just the initial trying to figure out things.
Well, again, I don't know the dealer experience. So if, and I'd be shocked if they were selling this car to people and just handing them the card to start and get out of here. I mean, I'm sure they're taking a lot of time with them to figure it out. So to answer your question, no, I have not followed up yet. Okay. And I will. I'll ask them the question about, are you hearing that from people, or what do you do? Because that's going to be part of my story on what are you doing at the dealer level to be able to help people to understand this vehicle, because it's a true standalone vehicle. There's nothing else out there directly like it. However, I'm sure Rivian is going after the Cybertruck buyer, meaning young, techie, doesn't want knobs, doesn't want anything like that. And that's who they're probably going after. And that's fine. I mean, I was never going to be a Cybertruck audience, and I'm probably never going to buy a Rivian. I don't have a need for a pickup truck like this. But that's fine. If they can find an audience for it, then that's good. Personally, since I've driven the Silverado and the Lightning, to this point, I like both of them better. But those are real full-on trucks. I mean, those are, gardeners and plumbers and carpenters. They can use those vehicles, and so I just don't see the Rivian and the Cybertruck as being that kind of a truck. And maybe I'm wrong, but I see Cybertrucks flying down the freeway here in Southern California, and there's a lot of them.
Right.
And the tonneau cover is always closed. No one's hauling anything. So, I mean, real life experience. That's it. So back to the Rivian. So far, I really like it. It's smooth. It accelerates fantastic. The one pedal driving is exactly what you want it to be. Doesn't matter if it's any of the different settings for how high it is. It seems to be quite efficient. Now, I've only driven it in town, so with the regen, that's going to be the most efficient that you're going to get out of it. But it seems efficient, and it has some cute little things about it. When you lock it, it makes a groaning sound, just like when you plug in a Hyundai, the woman's voice goes, "You are now plugged in," or whatever she says, So it's okay. That's cute. That's cute. But it's comfortable. And even for mine being highly outfitted, it's the seats are not leather, which is you don't need leather seats. And it's got a fixed roof, not a moonroof. I mean, not a power roof, but it's a moonroof. You can see through it. It's tinted. It's a nice vehicle. It's a nice
question,
vehicle.
Dave.
Just one, and it's non-Rivian, Roosevelt, if you'll bear with me. There's an ID Buzz poster behind you, John, in what I guess is the office. Have you driven that, and what's your quick impression?
I have driven it at the media drive that they had in San Francisco a couple months ago.
Okay.
And I only drove the rear wheel drive, and I really liked it. I really liked it. Coincidentally, next Wednesday, when I get out of the Rivian, they're dropping off a Buzz for me. Good. So I'll be driving the Buzz, and that's it's just I like it. And people are, living here at the beach lifestyle, surfers, and the whole kind of thing that when we first saw this thing announced 10 years ago, and people started going, "Oh, I'm going to want one." Well, then it comes out and it's $60-something thousand. Well, this is people thinking they were going to buy a VW bus for $1,100 like they did in '64. So no, they're just unrealistic. I think as far as the price goes, it's right in line with any vehicle that you're going to have like that. And when you look at electric vans, what other vans are out there that are pure EV?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't have the Mercedes vans that are in Europe, but we hear they're coming. And I know that the Chrysler has the plug-in hybrid Pacifica,
right?
But there's nothing that really competes against it, apples to apples. So if you want a van, and if you want particularly that image of driving a classic Volkswagen van, this is what you're going to buy. And I'm on a couple of ID Buzz forums and also Facebook pages. And these are people, one of them I'm on is from out of Europe because they had it 2 years before us. But they only had the rear wheel drive short wheel base.
Mhm.
We have front and rear and long wheelbase. And
Mhm.
so their comments are, I like their comments regarding charging, regarding I mean, they'll people say, I just got my vehicle and I can't figure out how to do this. And people go, then they respond, yeah, well, yeah, we couldn't either until we figured it out. So, it's like anything else. I think it's I like the vehicle. It was the route they took us on from San Francisco over to the beach at Marin County. We went over Mount Tamalpais. Very, very twisty, up and down,
Mhm.
tight apexes, off camber corners, all that kind of stuff. And we had the rear wheel drive one, and it handled absolutely fantastic. So, and I'm getting a rear wheel drive. I'm not getting an all wheel drive, but when I do get the all wheel drive, I'll have a chance to really see how it compares. But it's one of the strange EVs that are out there that there's 2 miles difference in range between the rear wheel drive and the all wheel drive. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. But
Great.
Well, thank you.
John, I thank you for your time. We've run over the half hour that I promised you that we would do, but it's not
Hey,
not our fault. It's
No.
your fault.
Hey, listen, I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here writing.
But I do appreciate you taking the time to talk about Clean Fleet Report
Yep.
and your reviews of automobiles. We're going to have you come back on to continue our discussions about clean air and clean vehicles sometime
Yeah.
in the very near future. Let me know. Hopefully I'll see you on the road. I won't be
Yep.
making the Escalade and event.
Oh, good. Wonderful. Great.
But anyway, Dave, as always, I appreciate having you on.
Well, certainly enjoyed the 45 minutes, Roosevelt. Good,
And as
good
I
stuff.
always say, please visit the social media sites of the panelists as well as the guests. Show them some love, some likes. And on some of them, you can actually make a donation. So donate. And as always, please buckle up, don't drink and drive. Buckle up, don't text and drive. See you next time.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye.
good weekend, guys. Enjoy
Bye-bye.
your